Sure.
Gary, can you hear me? Gary?
You hear me?
Yes, I can. How are you?
Not bad. How are you?
Not too bad.
Good.
Good indeed. Okay, so we have on last time we've seen unit 11, and we've talked about the poetic style of the book, and today we're going to go into the conversation of Ruth and Boaz and the dialogue that they have between them, which is a very interesting dialogue. Okay. And let's start by looking at this. Ron, unfortunately, will not be able to make it today. He sent me a message. Yeah, he is recuperating. Okay. I think he fell, or yeah, he fell. Send me a message. And let's see the dialogue between Ruth and Boaz. Very interesting dialogue in the field. And before we kind of dive into this dialogue, we'll see that, we'll see that Boaz is taking the lead in this dialogue, as again he is the wealthy man, and he opens this dialogue, he is closing this dialogue, and he is the one that gets much more words, if you will, almost somewhere between 3 and 4 times more words that he says in comparison to what Ruth says. So this dialogue is composed of 5 parts. Okay, that Boaz, Ruth, and then Boaz again. So he is the leading voice, opening and closing this conversation. He is this dialogue is bringing them very strongly together, okay, and shows the character of each of them. Okay, it shows his character as being very generous, and shows her character as being not taking things for granted, and being not having any expectations, okay, it not being in no sense of entitlement. Okay, so let's see this. Let's start with these 2 verses.
All right. Vayomer Boaz el Ruth. Hello. Shama'at.
Right.
BT. Al Telchi Lilkot. Bisadeh Achar.
Acher.
What?
Acher.
Achel. Acher.
Right.
V'gam lo ta'avuri mizeh v'chol tid bakiv, somebody's right. Tid bakiv im na'arotai. Okay, and
Right.
Boaz.
You can continue. You can continue to 9. This is the same.
Oh, okay.
The
He's
same
still talking.
speech and
Okay.
yeah.
A nayich basadeh asher yiktzorun v'halachti achareihem halo tziviti et han arim levilti naga eich.
Nog'ech.
What?
Nog'ech. This is a kamatz katan.
Oh, nag eich vitza mit v'halacht el hakelim v'shatit ma asher yish avun han arim.
Okay.
That's all I see. Okay.
Yeah. We have a lot here. Let's see. This.
All right. Then Boaz said to Ruth, listen carefully, my daughter. Do not go to glean in another field. Furthermore, do not go on from this one, but stay here with my maids. Let your eyes be on the field which they reap, and go after them. Indeed, I have commanded the servants not to touch you. When you are thirsty, go to the water jars and drink from what the servants draw.
Right. So going back here, we have Halo Shamat Biti, right?
Yeah.
He is starting with this question, right? This interrogative. Hey, in order to emphasize, to bring more force into what he is going to say, Halo Shamat Biti. And then we've talked about the poetic nature of some of the speeches in the book of Ruth. We have a good example here. Al telechi lilkot besadeh acher, v'gam lo ta'avuri mizeh. So we have al telechi, the negation of the immediate verb. Okay, we have this al is the immediate prohibitive. This is how you say don't in biblical Hebrew, followed by the jasiv form. Okay, so al telechi v'gam lo ta'avuri. So we have another type of negation. We have the negation that is represented by al, and then we have the negation of lo, both of them followed by a verb. Okay, be that a adjussive verb as in telechi or a yiktol verb ta'avuri. Don't go into another field. Don't leave this. Don't go away from this. Contextually, this place, this field. Okay?
I got a question. You've got two different notes here. You got all and you have low. What's a slight difference in?
Yeah. I said, generally speaking, al is followed by adjussive form.
Yes.
And usually al has an immediate sense. Don't.
Oh, like in the present tense, like don't do it
Not
now.
just in the present, but more immediate prohibitive.
Okay.
Lo, okay,
Yeah.
oftentimes has a sense of you shall not, okay? Lo tirtzach, as opposed to al tirtzach. Al tirtzach would be don't kill, okay? Don't murder. When I see you holding the knife, okay? Or if to give a biblical example, when the angel sees Abram, when God sees Abram holding the knife, he says, Al tishlach yadecha el hanar. Don't stretch your hand against the young man, the boy. Ve'al ta'as lo me'uma. And don't do anything to him. As opposed to lo, which is generally, which is frequently more of a general prohibition. Lo tignov, thou shalt not steal. Lo tinaf, thou shalt not commit adultery. Lo tirtzach, thou shalt not murder. Okay?
No.
So
Okay.
that's oftentimes the difference between al and lo. I should say that even though I was very convincing now, sometimes it doesn't work. Okay, so you have to take what I'm saying with a good measure of remembering that these distinctions work only to a certain percentage. And here you can see al telchi and lo ta'avuri as corresponding with one another. So it's not that they're in a different realm, okay? We can see in the same way that the imperative and the yiktol can both be used to express an instruction. Imperative is more intuitively doing that. The negation of the imperative is more intuitively an immediate prohibitive, while the negation of the yiktol is a general command not to do something,
Okay.
generally speaking. But they, as you can see, they are close to one another. Okay?
Yeah.
So al telechi and lo ta'avuri, v'cho tidbakin im na'arotai. So here we have the word ko. The word ko means what in biblical Hebrew? What is ko?
Because?
Not because. Ki is because oftentimes. The word ko usually means this way.
Say that again.
Usually the word ko means this way, thus, so.
Yes.
But it can also be a locative adverb saying here. And the reason is that ko probably shows something in this way, maybe even pointing towards a place. Vecho, here you should cling to my young women, maidservants. We have even, I'm sure you remember, in chapter 1, Ruth is saying to Naomi, Ko yaseh Adonai li v'cho yosif. Thus may the Lord do to me, and thus may he add, right? Only death shall do us apart. Okay? Ko yaseh Adonai li. So people suggest that the word ko was accompanied by a hand gesture. Be that gesture in the words of Ruth to Naomi, ko may be like this, ko, God may slit my throat if I'm lying, or ko pointing to the place here. But it might be accompanied by a gesture in both cases. Okay, so we have al telechi, and we've talked about going. So you've got al telechi, you've got vehalach, or let's read this. So we've got vehalacht, vehalachti. Do you see this word? Can you read it aloud?
Vehalach.
Does it say vehalacht? What does it say?
What does it mean, or what does it say?
No, what does it say?
In English or in Hebrew?
No. Can you read it again accurately?
Oh, vehalachti.
Okay, vehalachti. That's interesting. Right? Because what would we expect?
This is the first person, isn't it? Because it's T.
Right.
And I
So,
expect a second person feminine.
right, which would be how? What?
Halachta.
Halachta would be second masculine singular.
Oh, talach.
No, halacht.
Oh, halacht.
And we actually have it here.
Oh,
The
yeah.
second person feminine singular.
Yeah, halacht.
Halacht. Okay. So we have here something very interesting, right?
Yeah. The one that's interesting is the one with the T ending because it's something about himself going.
It might be, right? But it's definitely not what we would have expected.
Yeah.
Right? We would have expected here v'halacht.
Right.
And yet we have v'halachti. Okay?
Yes.
But the context suggests, as you correctly said, the context suggests this is second person feminine singular. So what do you do with this? What do we do with this? How can we deal with it?
You mean with the halachti?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. How did it make its way here? Why do we have it here?
Maybe it's something like he doesn't want her to go.
The answer is much more simple.
Or he hopes that she won't go.
No, let me show you the answer. You'll be very surprised. I think. Okay.
Okay.
This is related to eyesight. How good is your eyesight? Is it good?
He's asking her eyesight.
Yeah, we'll see how it is related to the eyesight of the guy who was making this very respectable, very important addition. Okay, this is based on the maybe most famous academic edition, the BHS, and that edition was based on the Codex Leningradensis. Okay, the Leningrad Codex. Let me show you exactly what he saw, and maybe we can understand better what's happening here. So the verse we're looking is Ruth 2, verse 9. Let's see this. Okay, just a moment. Okay. This is the manuscript, the oldest complete manuscript of the Masoretic text. It's called the Codex Leningradensis. It was it is in Leningrad, still is, I think, in Leningrad. And let's see, which is not called Leningrad anymore, but St. Petersburg. Okay. Do you see the verse?
What was the first word of the verse?
Einaich.
Oh yeah, Enaich, yeah, at the top. Okay.
You can see it at the top here.
Yes.
And you can see we have the word twice, right? Vehalacht. That's the bottom one. You can see the word vehalacht.
Yes.
Now the word vehalachti.
Oh, I see it. Yeah. There's the-
Right. But if you look very closely, do you see that we had another dot that is almost gone, but was there? Can you tell there was a dot there?
I mean,
Here,
below the top. Oh, yeah, a ghost.
do you see? We have this dot which we see, and there is another dot which is almost gone.
Yeah.
But if you look closely, you see that there was a dot here. Do you see this?
It reminds me of what my dentist showed me, and I couldn't tell.
Come again?
Well, I saw an X-ray, and the dentist pointed, you see, it's a little bit darker here. It was pretty hard to do, but yeah.
Right. So maybe I will do it a little bit bigger.
By the way, the last one has two dots under it. The last word. One of those dots is what we call a hollow dot.
Yeah, there are many dots where the ink is a little bit missing. So this is zooming in on what I said, and you can clearly see that
Oh,
dot.
yeah, very small.
It was there. Do you see how it is darker?
Yeah, I see one little square in the upper.
That's the
corner.
one dot,
Yeah.
and this is why he thought it was a chirik. But the fact of the matter is that there was a shiva there.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and this is exactly what happened to the vehalachti. By the way, it was never vehalachti, it is vehalacht. By the way, when we look at the Aleppo Codex, okay, when we look at the most famous codex of the Bible, the Aleppo Codex, it says vehalacht, no vehalachti or anything. So vehalachti is only because of the guy who was making this edition, which is, again, as I said, the best edition, the best academic edition considered to be, didn't see this very well. I should also say that in some cases there is a remnant of the T at the end of the word, meaning second person feminine singular. Okay, we do have some examples for that, and this is what led him to make this mistake. Okay,
Which codex is older?
what's what?
Which of the two codices is the older one?
Oh, first of all, older doesn't mean more accurate, but the Aleppo Codex is older. Unfortunately, though, with the Aleppo Codex, which is considered to be a very good manuscript and possibly the most important manuscript of the Masoretic text, it is not complete because many parts of it were kind of, we don't know what happened to them. In 1947 there was the with the establishment, with the heating situation in the Middle East, there were riots in Aleppo against Jews and everything. So the manuscript was the codex was saved, but parts of it were no longer. It was saved from a fire. So the famous, the most problematic part is the fact that we don't have the whole Pentateuch. It really starts only with Deuteronomy 28. So you understand how far from being complete it is.
Well, how come they didn't put that dot back in today's publishing houses.
I really don't know if more up-to-date editions of the BHS would have two dots there. But this is sometimes, you know, you do a lot of work, you are bound to make mistakes, you know. It's surprising, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know, this is the story here.
Okay.
Yeah, going is a very important route here, as you've seen. He's offered her to drink, reminding us a little bit of Rebecca and the servant of Abraham when we have the drinking in both cases, and it's a betrothal scene to an extent in both cases. Okay, let's see the answer. First of all, he is taking care of her, and that's wonderful, but it also lets you know that if he would not have commanded the young man not to touch her, they would probably or possibly.
Yeah.
Okay, which shows you the situation. There is some commentators read this in contrast with the scene, with a previous scene where we have the foreman speaking with Boaz, and maybe the foreman and the other workers would not be happy with him giving her this preferential treatment. Okay, so she would be less inclined to enjoy the gleaning, okay, and that may get them not to be very happy with the situation. So he is telling her, I've commanded them not to touch you, not to harm you, and you can actually drink from whatever they draw. Let's see her response. Go ahead.
Batipol al paneha, batishtahu arza, vatomer elav, madua matzati, hen be'enecha, lehakireni, ve'anochi nachriya.
Nochriya.
Nachriya.
Nochriya. This is a kamatz katan. Nochriya.
Oh, Nachriya.
Nochriya.
Oh, Nochriya.
Right,
Okay.
the kamatz katan.
Okay. Good. Then she fell on her face, bowing to the ground, and said to him, why have I found favor in your sight that you should take notice of me, since I am a foreigner?
Right. So basically, she is so surprised. You can see her reaction as she is so surprised. She is falling on her face, which shows surprise and gratitude, deep gratitude. Okay, there is a combination of gratitude and surprise, and the gratitude stems from the lack of entitlement. Okay, she doesn't think she is entitled to anything.
Yeah.
And she says, Madua matzati chen be'enecha lehakireni va'anochi nochriya. What is the root of both these words?
Which words?
The words that I've underlined, lehakireni and nochriya.
Well, I see the Kaf and the Yud and the Resh.
The kaf and the reish, that is correct.
But the Yud doesn't count, right? So
No, it's not a yod.
it's not a Yud? What?
not a yod, right?
Ah. The ha just means the.
No,
Oh, you're saying ha is part of the root?
no, I didn't
Hey.
say that. I just said it's not the definite article.
Oh, okay. So hey, cough, and resh are the root.
Hey, kaf and resh is not the root, but kaf and resh are the second and third root letter. Okay. Nun kaf and resh is the root. Okay.
Noon, cough,
Yeah.
and resh. Okay, so the noon is not showing up in the front.
Right. The nun is showing up only in that sense that it assimilates into the following consonant.
Akriya, yeah, that's the noon.
Okay, so we have
Is that nach or
lehakireni
noch?
nochriya.
Yeah,
This is the
noch,
kamatz
yeah.
katan. So we have the nun in nochriya, and we have the strong dagesh in the letter kaf.
Oh, that's the absorption of the noon.
Right, that's the assimilation of the nun into it.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay, got it.
So the root nun kaf and resh, interestingly, is showing here both, right? Both the being nochriya. What is nochriya?
Would that be foreigner?
Nochriya is a foreigner.
Yeah.
So a person who is a complete stranger. And lehakireni,
Something to do with notice?
notice here in the translation to take notice, but really, it is more than just taking notice. I think taking notice is not reflecting the whole story here. Lehakireni in biblical Hebrew, this root can be noticed, but it can be in this context to give me preferential treatment, because she is getting preferential treatment. This is not your regular gleaning. This is not your regular whatever person gets in their gleaning in the field, right? She is getting to drink from whatever the servants bring. Okay,
She's getting two things. She's getting protection and she's getting water. Okay.
right, and she's getting better treatment than everybody else. And she says, I'm not even worthy of the basic level of gleaning. That is to say, she doesn't say, I am coming, there is a law that lets me glean, and so this is the premise for me gleaning here. No, she says, I am a foreigner, hence I'm not entitled to anything. Then I'm going to glean about after anyone in whose eyes I find favor. So the basis for her gleaning is not related to, at least in her mind, is not related to her being not related to the law, but related to someone finding her finding favor in one's eyes. And she talked, and this is what she said to her mother-in-law: let me glean among the ears after anyone in whose eyes I find favor. Okay. And so finding favor is not the question here, but rather receiving preferential treatment while being a foreigner. A foreigner is not even entitled to the basic level of gleaning, and she deems herself foreign. And so she's asking, by using the same root, why do you give me a better treatment than not just than I deserve? Even if I were to be not a foreigner, I would not still be entitled to this treatment. You're treating me better than definitely better than I deserve, but better than what I would have deserved if I were deserving at all.
All right, so this is deeper than her just saying thank you very much.
Right. It's not just taking notice, it's giving me preferential treatment.
Right.
Okay. We do have examples for this root as being not just noticing but giving preferential treatment. For
There's
instance,
something
yeah.
else here. And she's saying why she's wants him to defend what he's doing. That's really more than
I
she.
don't. It's not an accusation, but it has a sense of wonderment that we've talked about. It's
Yeah.
gratitude, but also wonderment.
Yeah, but by putting the word why there, he sort of is obligated to answer it, I think.
Right, it's a dialogue. Yeah, why? Okay, explain your actions, and he does. Let's see this.
Oh, Va Ya'an Boaz, Va Yomer Lach Hugad, Hugad, the Kol Asher Asit et Hamortech Acharei Mot Isheich Vata'azvi Avich Ve'imech Ve'eretz Moladtech Vatelchi El Am Asher Lo Yada'at Temol Shilshom Yeshalem Hashem Pa'alech Utahi Maser Hur Teich Shlema Me'im Hashem Elohei Yisrael Asher Ba'at Lachasot Tachat Kenafav.
Yes. Okay. Let's see the English. Go ahead.
And Boaz answered and said to her, all that you have done for your mother-in-law after the death of your husband has been fully reported to me, and how you left your father and your mother and the land of your birth and came to a people that you did not previously know. May the Lord reward your work and your wages be full from the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings you have come to seek refuge.
All right. Okay. So basically, Boaz is explaining to her why he is treating her this way. Okay.
Yeah.
And he is saying that it's not just him, everybody knows who God. So in different translations you can see differently. This is what we call a tautological infinitive, emphasizing the verb by adding the infinitive to it. So sometimes you would see it was thoroughly or fully reported to me. Maybe it is everybody knows. Okay, it is now common knowledge what you did with your mother-in-law after the death of your husband. Vata'azvi avich ve'imech ve'eretz moladetech vatelechi el Does it remind you of anyone? The wording, you leaving father, mother, the leaving the
Oh, yeah.
land.
Yeah, God speaking to Abraham, right?
Exactly. Lech lecha,
Yeah.
right? ותלכי מארצך וממולדתך ומבית אביך אל הארץ אשר אראך. There is no doubt. I think I said it many times already, and I'll say it probably many times more. The book that influenced the book of Ruth by far more than any other book of the Bible is the book of Genesis.
Right.
Okay. And you can see it almost every turn. Here you can see the connection that Boaz is making, between Ruth and Abraham. Okay. Abraham is considered to be the first convert, right? The first person who converts. And
Right.
Ruth is, yeah,
Yeah.
right. And in both cases, because of their love for, or because they join different, they leave their family, they come closer to God. Okay. It's interesting because Abram is responding to God's command, and Ruth is responding to her internal compass, her moral command, her loyalty to her mother-in-law. Very interesting. In any case, as I said, no doubt that we have here a connection to Abram, and this we've seen verse 12 last week when we've talked about poetic style. Yeshalem Adonai pa'olech ותהי מזכורתך שלמה מעם אדוני אלוהי ישראל אשר באת לחסות תחת כנפיו. So we have few things, again, many things that can be said, but note mazkurtech, dovetailing what we said before. If I were to tell you that there is only one more book of the Bible that has this word maskoret, you would guess that it is which book?
Oh,
It's the book of Genesis. Again, the only other book of the Bible that talks about maskoret as a wages. And finally, asher bat lachasot tachat kenafav. This image of seeking refuge under the wing, okay, is an imagery of seeking the protection of God, but is also an imagery that would later on play a significant role in the story, right? You remember when Ruth comes to Boaz to the threshing floor, and he finds out finally who is the lady that came to lie next to him. She says to him, "Ufarasta kenafcha ala matecha ki goelata." You should spread the corner of your garment, and the word kanaf is the same word. It's both the wings and also the corner of the garment, the extremity of the garment. So this phrase in verse 12 is similar to what we'll see in chapter 3 in the nighttime meeting of Boaz and Ruth. Okay. Right. Okay.
By the way,
Yeah.
God says to Abraham, I will show you, come, I will show you this land.
Right.
But Naomi doesn't say to Ruth, come and I'll show you my people. There's nothing like that at all.
No, right. In that sense, right. Ruth is greater. She only has her inner engine.
She has more
Right.
credit, you know.
Right. She gets a lot of credit, and when credit is due. Okay, so we have 13 and 14, but okay, let's read like this. Go ahead.
All right. Vatomer, Emtsa, Hen, Be'enecha, Adoni, Ki, Necham, Tani, Vechi, Dibarta, Alev, Shif, Chatecha, Ve'onochi, Lo, Eheyeh, Ke'achat, Shifhotecha. Then she said, I have found favor in your sight, my Lord, for you have comforted me, and indeed have spoken kindly to your maidservant, though I am not like one of your maidservants.
What does it mean that she is not one of his maidservants?
Maybe she's not available.
I think that she says, I'm not even one of your maidservants. So you are taking care of me. Again, why am I reading this in that sense? Because I think it is similar to what was said before, right? When she says, I am not worthy of your treatment, okay? And I'm not even, you speak, you comfort me, you speak to my heart, okay? And I'm not even one of your maidservants, okay? And let's see this, go ahead.
Vayomer lach, Boaz, the 8 Ochel, Yeshi Halom Va'achalt Min Halechem Vetavalt Pitech Vachometz Vateshev Mitzad HaKotzrim Vayitzbat Lach Kali Vatochal Vatisba Vatotar. And at mealtime, Boaz said to her, come here, that you may eat of the bread and dip your piece of bread in the vinegar. So she sat beside the reapers, and he served her roasted grain, and she ate and was satisfied and had some left.
Right. So again, depends how we understand exactly the context here, but it seems to be the time of the meal, and he is inviting her. She's by the way, he is inviting her to dip her bread in the chometz, here translated as vinegar. I'm not sure that this is the best translation. It might be actually something not far from hummus. The etymology of the word hummus, you go to the supermarket, you get hummus by Sabra or whatever, is related to this chometz. It might be this hummus or actually other. It might not be vinegar. That's my point. There are other options to understand what they're deeping their pita in. Okay. And pita with hummus, as you know, is like a staple dish of the Middle East. Vateshev mitzad hakotzarim. Again, she is not sitting among them, but beside them, and he's taking care of her. Again, alongside the fact that he told her that she could drink water, she's, is now getting her the food as well. Now, a little bit about the verbs, the kal katal. This is the katal conjugation. The katal is a suffix conjugation. You know that the ending that we add determines the subject. So, katal with no ending is the third person masculine singular. And by adding the ending, we are indicating the subject. So, katalti, I did so-and-so with a T. Katalta, you did so-and-so. Katalt, as we had with halacht, right? Vehalacht, we had a big discussion about it today, right? You, feminine singular. Katela, she did so-and-so. Katalnu, we did. Ketaltem, you guys. Ketalten, you ladies. And katelu, they, either masculine or feminine. Note that whenever there is a vowel at the end of the verb, katela or katelu, that causes a reduction of the vowel following the second root letter. Okay, so katelu, katela. Finally, when we add a consonant vowel consonant, as in ketaltem and ketalten, the vowel under the first root letter reduces into a moving shava. Ketaltem and ketalten. Let's take one of these verbs.
One more thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think I looked up the what the meaning of the root is. That's killing, right?
Right. You want to ask why, or you like it, and we can go
I
on.
know there's another one they use for this
Yeah.
purpose.
No, the reason, right? Katal literally means to kill poetically, not to kill by poetry, but to kill in poetic texts, right? Though some poems can be used for that. Katal is a very it's not a very common verb, and as such, the fact that he is not common contributes to it not being irregular. Both the letters and the fact it's not common makes it very regular as far as its declension, and this is why we use it, not because of our bloodthirsty nature. We're not we're not that. Okay. So that's that. Let's take one of these verbs and conjugate it in the different subjects. Go ahead. Whichever one you want to take.
Okay.
You want to take katav? Oh, so very good. Katav. So katav would be he wrote. How would be I wrote?
Katavti.
Exactly. How would be you wrote?
Katavta.
Right. How would be you feminine singular wrote when talking to a woman?
Oh. Katav.
Katavt.
Okay, of course.
Katav. Right. Katav. How would be she wrote?
That was a katva.
Kateva, right. And in the plural, how would be we wrote?
Katavni? No.
Katavnu.
Katavnu, right.
Right. How would be you guys wrote?
Katav two.
Ketavtim.
Oh, Tim. And that would be Katal 10. Katal 10.
Right. Ketavten or Ketalten, right?
Katal 10. Wait, Katal 2. Wait, Katlu.
Right. Katelu or Katevu or Yashivu or Ameru or Halechu for both of these.
It's coming back a little bit. Okay.
Right. Very good. So it was an absolute pleasure, Gary, and I will see you next week. Hopefully, Ron will be with us.
Yeah, I hope he's better.
Yeah, I hope he will be. Yeah, I hope he is, as a matter of fact. Okay.
I just wondered on your Sunday show where you have office hours.
Yeah.
Is that a standing thing that I can click on, or do I have to wait?
Yeah, it's a standing thing.
Okay, I just trying to collect my standing things in one place, so
Yeah, very good. It's a good approach.
yeah.